Potential fourth indictment of former President Donald Trump is looming in Georgia. The Fulton County District Attorney is expected to present the findings from the investigation into Trump's alleged election interference to a grand jury sometime next week. Joining us now for more is CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian. Nicole, good morning. How soon after the evidence is presented to the grand jury might we know if they're going to indict?
Well, keep in mind this is going to be a fluid timetable. What we do know, as you referenced, is that the district attorney, Fani Willis, is expected to start presenting evidence to a grand jury potentially as soon as next week, because keep in mind this is part of this 3-week window that she had outlined months ago to county officials, where she wanted, security restricted, where she called for her staff to work remotely, and where she asked judges not to schedule any trials. And so we were coming up on the end of that 3-week period, which is why we expect it's possible that she'll start presenting that evidence to a grand jury at some point next week. Now, keep in mind there are 2 grand juries, and they both meet for 2 days at a time. So hypothetically, if she starts presenting evidence to one of these grand juries, they're only going to be in session for 2 days. It's possible, if they get through that entire presentation, that the grand jury could potentially make a decision about a potential indictment within that 2-day period. We just don't know, because we don't know exactly how long that presentation will be. We don't know how long deliberations could last. But certainly, given the heightened security, we know most of that will continue at least through next week. So we will be continuing to monitor the timing around this.
Well, last night in New Hampshire, Donald Trump was pretty vocal about Fulton County DA Fani Willis. Can you just walk us through what was said?
Yeah, that's right. And this is not the first time. I mean, keep in mind the former president was here in Georgia earlier this summer and made a lot of similar comments, basically accusing the district attorney of being a racist. He also continued to defend that now infamous phone call that he made to the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, when he asked him to find votes to potentially overturn the 2020 election here in the state, which is really at the center of this investigation. Take a listen to what the president said at a campaign event yesterday.
By the way, wants to indict me for a perfect phone call. This was even better than my perfect call with Ukraine. Remember that call? That was a perfect call. This one's better. This one is more perfect. I challenged the election in Georgia, which I have every right to do, which I was right about, frankly. And they want to indict me because I challenged the election.
Now, obviously, we know the former president was not right because he did not win the state of Georgia. He was certainly seeking to, in terms of some of the tweets and calls that he was making at the time after the 2020 election. And again, all of this is likely to be part of some of this evidence that the district attorney will present. Now, we did ask for comment with respect to the former president's remarks. The DA's office didn't comment, but the DA has made clear that she took an oath to follow the law. And so if someone did break the law here in Fulton County, she says that she has the right to prosecute. And she also has said that she is ready to go as far as her investigation is concerned.
I mean, I can't believe he is still saying that he's right. Rudy Giuliani, his attorney, is currently being sued by 2 Georgia election workers for defamation for that very assertion, that there was something sort of shady about what they were doing with the ballots. So in the meantime, the judge overseeing Trump's January 6th case has scheduled a hearing. It's going to happen this Friday to take a look at the scope of a protective order that the prosecution wants in place. What more can you tell us about that?
Well, so a couple of things. And of course, this stems from the special counsel investigation into the former president's efforts to overturn the 2020 election writ large and the events leading up to January 6th, much of this prompted by the January 6th investigation that Congress did. But right now, off of the bat, I mean, of course, we saw the former president indicted and arraigned last week, and already his legal team is in this dispute with the special counsel's team. And part of this stems from a Truth Social post and that the former president has put up on his page at the end of last week, where he suggested, you know, if they come after me, I'm going to come after you. And the special counsel now wants to enact a protective order to basically restrict the former president from being able to speak openly about this specific case. Now, in that same campaign appearance yesterday, the former president argued that the special counsel's team is trying to take away his First Amendment rights. But there are real concerns that the special counsel has, even suggesting that the former president is trying to try his case in the media rather than a courtroom. So this hearing on Friday will strictly be about this protective order to determine whether or not the former president will be limited in what he can say about this January 6th case.
All right. Thank you, Nicole.